Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm very much excited to share this Christmas lesbian movie that I will highly recommend you all to go ahead and go watch. Yes, it's a new Christmas lesbian movie, and to be honest, it's very good. Me personally, I will highly rate it a 8 out of a 10.
Audacity to get mad at me? Am I missing anything?
How's your day going?
On our way to a Michelin star.
Sorry, what was that? I couldn't actually have a life.
I have a life.
People are gonna remember me. No one even notices.
Waldo, really? What? I thought we were only applying to colleges out west.
So the movie basically follows Maggie and Julian, ex-girlfriends who basically have, to find a way to coexist with one another after 10 years without seeing one another, because both of them actually go back to their hometowns and they both actually end up receiving the key to the city at the same day, at the same moment. So basically they have to share a key, but that's not the biggest case of everything that has been going on. So basically the two, they were dating in high school and they have decided to apply for colleges together in the same city at the same college so they can, basically live together and just, take their relationship to the next level. But you can clearly see that Julianne, she had other plans for her. She wanted to go do culinary school and not basically follow Maggie. But, the way she said it also bothered Maggie because they had a whole plan and, Julianne, she just went out and did her own thing, which me personally, I feel like she did the right thing. But also at the other hand, we can also see that Maggie, she was hiding Julian from the people because she wanted, or like she wanted to portray this image. It wasn't her reality, even though everybody already knew she was gay. So they were actually in a 2-year relationship, but Maggie wasn't ready to tell nobody about their situation, their relationship. So basically, on New Year's Eve, they ended up breaking up because Julian, she just had enough. She was tired of seeing how Maggie was hiding her, how Maggie never really included her in everything big that she had going on. She always tried to spend time with her after everybody already left, in order to try to keep things a secret. So now 10 years have passed, but before that you can also see that basically Maggie told Julian, you will never be nothing, nobody will ever remember you. I'm gonna be remembered, I'm gonna be someone big, and you will just be a nobody. This is the part that I really didn't enjoy to watch and to see Maggie basically telling Julian that. But as time progresses, 10 years later, when they are now back in their hometown to spend the holidays with their families, you can clearly see that in this case, even though, Maggie is doing well for herself, she's actually a struggling actress. She's struggling, she's going broke, she's going through a breakup with a girlfriend and all of that. And on the other hand, we actually have Julianne, who's actually a chef. She has a lot of, promising jobs offers on the table for her, and she's doing pretty good for herself. So it's like the roles have the reverse. Everything you said that she wouldn't be, she actually end up becoming. And she's also an author and she has her own book. So she's doing pretty good for herself. And now she's back home, in her hometown, helping her mom out, at the diner in this case. So you can see how they actually end up getting close is that you can clearly see that Maggie needed a job, in order, to make some extra cash while she was away because she was actually going broke. So, one of, in this case, Julian's closest friend told her, why don't you go ahead and go ask for a job at, in this case at Julian's mother's diner. I feel like they, to make extra cash. At the beginning she was very against it because the two, just keep on bumping into each other and just going head to head arguing and basically making it impossible for them just to have like a mutual relationship, especially after 10 years of being apart. So later on, Julian was, in this case Maggie was like, okay, I'm gonna swallow my pride, I'm gonna go ask Julian for me to work at the diner. At the beginning, of course, you can clearly see that Julian was against it. She wasn't having it, but later on, Maggie could find a way to convince her, and basically she ends up working at the diner, and that's how the two actually started to get close and close and close to one another until, in this case, you can clearly see that Maggie ends up asking Julian, out on a date, on a cinema date. But, at that very moment, you can also see that in this case, Maggie's ex-girlfriend also came back in the picture wanting her back. And at that date that they were supposed to go in this case, Julian, she couldn't make it, unfortunately, because her mother actually ends up, getting into a health situation. So she didn't actually show up to the date. So it was kind of like, Maggie felt like, Julian left her hanging. But, as soon as Maggie got home, she actually found her ex-girlfriend in her house. And her ex-girlfriend basically asked her back, and they got back together. And in this case, Julian, she was feeling guilty because she felt like she should have told Maggie the reason why she didn't show up. But also they are in a in this case, in a small town, the rumors go around very fast. So I feel like at that point, Maggie, she already knew why Julian haven't showed up, despite Julian not telling her. And because at that moment she was worried about her mother, she wasn't worried about anybody else. But as the movie progresses, you can see that Julian, she kind of felt guilty later on. She went to have a conversation with Maggie and basically told her, "Hey, this is what happened. I'm sorry. I was worried about my mother. I didn't even think about, telling you about what happened." But at that moment, none of that really mattered because at that point, Maggie was already back with her girlfriend. Her girlfriend actually made her a proposal to go on tour with her, basically being out for a whole year and leaving her, actress's, career behind and basically embark on this journey with her. And of course, Maggie ends up accepting it. But later on, there was something way more bigger because you can clearly see that in this case, Maggie's girlfriend also wanted to propose to her. So she waited, until a very specific moment and she actually ends up proposing. But during that proposal, nothing went as planned because that's where the truth finally came out because Maggie also lied to her ex-girlfriend regarding, Julian's existence. She just said she was an old friend. She never really told her that they were exes, that they dated, that they were in a 2-year relationship. Basically, once again, Maggie was just trying to hide Julian, and that's very, very disappointing in my opinion. But later on, you can see they got into this whole three-way conversation, the three after, Maggie and, her girlfriend Vivi, they have decided not to get engaged. So in this case, you can see that Maggie went after her, and then Julian went after Maggie, and they all three were just standing in the snow having these conversations. And that's when everything basically turned against Maggie because that's when the two realized that the problem in this whole situation was actually Maggie because she could never really figure out what she really wanted. If she wanted to be with Vivi, if she wanted to be with Julian, what she wanted. She wants to continue her career as an actress, that she wants to go on tour with her girlfriend. Are they together? Are they not? Why does she still keep hiding Julian? So it was just a lot of questions that needed to be answered. And later on, Julian finally realized that the problem this whole time wasn't her. She finally realized that the person that was indecisive, that never really knew what they wanted, was in this case Maggie. So that's the turning point. Even though she still had a lot of love for Maggie and she still wanted to make things work with Maggie, she also realized that in this case, Maggie, she had her own situations to go ahead and go figure out. So later on, as the movie progresses, you can actually see at the end, in this case, Julian, they were at this New Year's Eve party. And then, obviously, you can also see that Maggie ends up showing up and she basically gives this whole, speech of love towards Julian. And that's where the two finally have decided, to be together. And years later on, you can see that they actually moved in together. Both of them are doing well successfully. In this case, you can see Maggie finally got, her big start in her actress career, and also Julian is doing pretty good for herself as well. So the two were happily in love together, and in this case, Maggie could finally make her mind up and decide who she wanted to be with, and she's finally with the person who she feels she needed to be with. So that's actually the story. Very good movie. I like the acting. I like the fact that it's a whole lesbian movie. The quality is good, the actress is good, the chemistry between the ladies is good. The only thing that I wanted a little bit more is get a little bit more spiciness. That would have been nice, but I also get it. It's a Christmas movie. You gotta keep it PG. But yes, it's a very good movie. Like I said, I will highly rate it 8 out of 10. And the movie is called Last Xmas. Yes, Last Xmas, and you guys can watch it on Apple TV. Great movie. So yes, guys, that's basically it. I've activated the super sticker to the channel just in case any of you would like to make a small donation. And I also want to say please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Until the next video, and goodbye.